There are three things that need to be in place for ESG to drive returns. Firstly, the focus must be on materiality. How does the ESG behaviour drive performance of that stock, whether it's revenue or costs? This is critical because all ESG behaviour does not help in terms of performance. Secondly, there must be minimum standards. Poor ESG behaviour must have consequences. If you allow any type of behaviour and just use the excuse of engagement, that will not support your focus on returns. And thirdly, your ESG analysis must be forward-looking. How is that behaviour changing over time? Is it moving in a positive direction? Because as we've seen from numerous studies, as companies improve ESG performance, their stock performance improves in tandem. Absolutely, the fund manager should do the ESG analysis. These are the guys who are actually making the stock selection, doing the investment analysis, doing the financial analysis, and if you really want ESG to drive returns, it must be a fundamental part of that process. We don't believe in using external teams, we don't believe in using other ratings agencies. It's the fund manager's responsibility. And they do it by actually sitting in front of the company, talking to the management team, really looking into the whites of their eyes and asking those important questions about how they manage their emissions, how they look after their employees, to really understand the strength of the management team, the values, and whether they will look after us as shareholders in the business. I think the first question is to ask, who does the ESG analysis? Is that analysis being done by the fund manager? Because if it isn't, then I'd be nervous as to the actual use of ESG by that particular portfolio or that stock. And secondly, in terms of asking specific questions, I'd encourage people to ask the fund manager, have they ever excluded a stock for purely ESG reasons? That is a really important question because many fund managers will talk a lot about ESG, but they will still invest and they will use the excuse of engagement when actually the reality is ESG dictates that you do not invest in stocks that are performing poorly in terms of some of those criteria.